everyone, I'm Michelle with Designs by JuJu, and in today's video, we are going to be making the In the Hoop Pencil Teacher Mug Rug. I especially love this project because I myself am also a teacher. This project includes 5 sizes and is made completely in the hoop. For this tutorial, I will be stitching the 5x7 size. This mug rug features adorable applique work as well as flip and stitch border detailing. As a bonus feature, it can be customized using an embroidery machine or embroidery software. Let's get started. For the In the Hoop Pencil Teacher Mug Rug, you will need the following supplies. Fabric cut according to the supply list included within your PDF. I have my detail fabric that's going to go in the center, as well as my border and backing fabric. I also have a variety of applique fabric set out. You will need no-show mesh cutaway stabilizer. I'm going to be stitching the 5x7 mug rug, so I already have that hooped into my hoop. Batting, scissors. I like these for cutting my fabric and these for my applique work. And you will also need some thread. I prefer Floriani for all of my embroidery work. All right, let's head over to the embroidery machine and let's get stitching. All right, we are over at my Brother embroidery machine, and for this project, I'm going to be using my Brother Stell Air for my stitching. Like I said, I already have my 5x7 hoop, and I have my no-show mesh cutaway stabilizer on my hoop here, and I'm going to go ahead and start stitching. Now, this project is so cute. Here is a finished picture, a finished example of the mug rug. And in today's tutorial, I'm actually going to be stitching a different piece of text here. I customized the mug rug that we're going to be stitching today using my Embrilliance software, and I changed the word teacher, and instead mine is going to say Mrs. C. I myself am actually a teacher, and so I thought this would be so cute on my desk for the upcoming school year. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first stitch that I'm going to run is actually the placement line for my batting. Now that I have the placement line for my batting, I'm going to place my batting directly on top of those placement stitches, making sure that all of the stitches are completely covered. And now I'm going to run the tack down line to secure that batting in place. Next, I'm going to remove my hoop from my machine and trim away the excess batting right along that tack down line, making sure not to nick any of the stitches. Okay, now we're ready to run the placement line for the middle background fabric. Next, I'm going to place my background fabric directly over that placement line. And since I'm using a gingham fabric, I did apply some SF101 to the back just to add a little bit of added support to this gingham fabric. And if you are unsure of how much fabric you need, make sure to reference the cut chart included within your PDF download. It's listed with the supply list at the beginning. All right, so now I'm going to tack down that middle background fabric. Next, I'm going to remove my hoop and trim away some of this excess background fabric. Okay, I've just trimmed away some of this excess fabric, and as you can see, I trimmed it at a diagonal and then right along the tack down line on both sides. It's okay if you leave this end down here long, it's not going to hurt anything, but we do want to trim away this excess along these 2 border pieces so that we don't have a lot of bulk underneath of our border fabric. Okay, so I'm going to load it back onto my machine. And the next stitch is going to be the placement line for my border fabric. All right, so we've just stitched the placement line. So as you can see, there are 2 stitches here. There is our tack down stitch that secured our middle background fabric in place. And then there's a second stitch further inside, and that is the placement line for our border fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take whatever fabric I'm going to use for the border, and I am going to flip it face down, right side facing down, and I'm going to line it up parallel to that placement line, and I'm going to have it overhang about 1/4 of an inch, just so I make sure that it tacks it down. So here is that placement line, and I'm just going to have my fabric overhang that about 1/4 of an inch. And the next stitch is going to tack down this border fabric. All right, so now that that fabric is tacked down, you can see it is secured to my mug rug. And so now I'm going to take this fabric and I'm going to flip it so the right side is facing up. I'm going to press those seams with my fingers, and then I'm going to stitch the tack down that's going to secure it right along the outer border here. We call this the flip and stitch method. Okay, now I'm going to repeat those exact same steps on the other side. All right, so I have my top border, my middle background fabric, and my bottom border all complete. So now I am ready to stitch the applique pieces for my pencil that's going to go in the center. I am going to stitch these designs off camera, but if you have never stitched applique before, we actually have a PDF included within your download that shows step-by-step pictures for how to do applique work. And we also have a YouTube video that I will link down below in the description box for more helpful tips and tricks with applique work. All right, so I'm going to stitch my applique pieces and then we'll check back in. All right, so I've just completed all of the applique stitching, and as you can see, I have my pencil and my 2 hearts. It is so cute. So now I'm ready to do my satin and decorative stitches. So these next few stitch steps are all satin and decorative. I'm going to do those off camera, and then we will come back together when it's time to add our name detail. All of my decorative and satin stitches are now complete. So the final stitch step here before we add our backing is for the name. So like I said, you could stitch this as it is designed and created using the word teacher in the middle, like I showed at the beginning. But for my example here, I'm going to actually put Mrs. C right in the middle of my pencil. And I did this step using my Embrilliance software. If you do not have Embrilliance, you can do this on most embroidery machines. Now is the time in which you would want to add that stitch step right before you add your backing. It's the last step before you add your backing. You can also leave it blank. Some other options would be to add the word para if you wanted to make this for a paraprofessional, or you could do an aide or a secretary, anything. This would be so cute for any of those special people within your life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stitch my Mrs. C using my black thread, and then we'll be ready to add our backing. All right, now that I have all of my detail and name stitching complete, I brought my hoop over here to my table, and we are ready to add our backing fabric. So I have 2 pieces of background fabric. They match the border pieces that I used, and I have these cut according to the supply list included within my PDF. There are 2 pieces that are cut and then folded in half. Both of them are folded in half. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the first piece about to the middle, and then I'm going to place the second piece with folded sides together. Here's a folded side, here's a folded side. They're going to face each other. And then I'm going to overlap it about an inch, half inch, probably about an inch. And I'm going to make sure that my entire mug rug underneath is completely covered. So you can see I have excess here, and I just want to make sure that they are pressed nice and flat. So again, this top piece has to go down first, and then the bottom piece second. And that will help you to make sure that your embroidery foot does not catch this when it stitches. So I'm going to take this back over to my embroidery machine, and I'm going to stitch down the final tack down line that is going to secure my back fabric in place. I am going to slow down the speed of my embroidery machine because like I said, sometimes that foot on your embroidery machine can catch underneath of this fabric, and then it can actually unhoop your whole project. So make sure to pay close attention. You can put some paper medical tape on the sides here to help hold it in place, and just keep a close eye on it. I'm going to go stitch that off camera so I can have my full attention on it as I stitch it, and then we will be ready to finish our mug rug. And my mug rug is complete. So as you can see, my tack down line stitched all the way around. So how it starts is it stitches up, secures this piece down, and then goes over it, stitches all the way around, comes this way, and then goes back around. So that's why you want to have this piece on second, because it tacks it down, goes over it, and then goes this way. If you have it the other way, it will have a tendency to catch on that embroidery foot. All right, so I'm going to remove this from my hoop. And using my scissors, I am going to trim away all of this excess fabric and stabilizer. And when I get to the corners, I'm going to trim them at an angle. Okay, then I'm going to flip my mug rug through the opening at the back. All right, so I just flipped it through the opening at the back. I gave it a nice press using my iron, and here's what we have. So here are two options. So this is the file you receive with your purchase, and then of course you can do any customizations you would like if you want to change the text or add something else, or just take the text off completely. We've just completed stitching the In the Hoop Pencil Teacher mug rug. As you saw, this project was stitched completely in the hoop. I also demonstrated how I customized mine using Embrilliance embroidery software, but how it could also be done using your own embroidery machine. These mug rugs are absolutely adorable. If you're looking for other creative gift ideas, make sure to check the description box below, where I will have a blog post linked with a variety of other fun and unique gifts perfect for educators. I hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial. Make sure to check the description box below for lots of helpful links. Also, make sure to join the Designs by JuJu Blessings Facebook group for more tips, tricks, and inspiration. We hope to see you there. Don't forget to subscribe.